A presence approaches that no human eye can bear to witness, a moment where the air thickens, the world around you dims, and something ancient and unstoppable turns its attention entirely toward you. Before we continue, tell me in the comments where in the world you're watching this from, and if you want more deep Islamic reminders like this, make sure you subscribe right now. When that final instant of life arrives, it does not knock. It settles over a person quietly, as if time itself exhales and steps aside. Islamic teachings describe a transition so intense that the soul becomes aware of truths it ignored its entire life. The heartbeat you've heard since birth suddenly sounds distant, like it no longer belongs to you. The world around you loses its weight. The walls, the faces, the voices of loved ones become strangely soft, fading into something that feels more like memory than reality. It is the veil thinning, not tearing or ripping, but dissolving gently, the way fog retreats when the sun begins to rise. And in that dissolving, a person sees with a clarity they've never known, a clarity that pierces deeper than sight, deeper than thought, reaching into a place where no lie, no excuse, no distraction can survive. In this moment, the soul understands without being told that its journey through time is ending and its journey through eternity is beginning. The intensity of that moment is unlike any fear or joy of this world. It's the overwhelming understanding of absolute truth. You suddenly grasp how temporary your achievements were, how fragile your attachments were, how every choice, every kindness, every cruelty, every prayer whispered in the dark has been carried with you. You realize that life was not drifting. It was leading, deliberately, step by step, toward this precise instant. And then the awareness deepens, not gently but with a weight that presses against the soul. You are no longer alone. Something unseen, something powerful, something that has known your name since the moment you were created has entered your space. He does not rush. He does not stumble. The angel of death arrives with a precision no human can comprehend, appointed, flawless, and inevitable. Islamic scholars describe that his presence is perfectly measured. He comes exactly as the person's life has shaped him to be seen. To a soul purified through faith and sincere effort, his arrival feels like relief after a lifetime of exhaustion, like a familiar warmth that calms fear before it even forms. To a soul heavy with regret and rebellion, his presence shakes the heart with a terror that words cannot fully express. But regardless of how he appears, the soul recognizes him instantly, instinctively, like a truth it always knew but pushed to the farthest edges of awareness. As he approaches, the room itself seems to shift. The world that once felt permanent now appears small, like a set that has served its purpose and is quietly being taken down piece by piece. The dying person sees what those around them cannot, the unseen realm unveiling itself. Angels gather, their presence vast and undeniable, filling the room with a stillness that humans mistake for silence, but is actually the sound of a different world overshadowing this one. Mercy or sternness radiates from them, not randomly, not by chance, but as a reflection of the life the person lived. Their faces, their light, their intensity, none of it resembles anything earthly, yet the soul understands it with perfect clarity. And then the angel of death stands at the head of the person, not questioning, not negotiating, but simply fulfilling the command he has waited for since the day that person took their first breath. His gaze is not cruel, nor is it tender, it is absolute. He sees the soul not as the body it inhabits, but as the truth beneath every action, every intention, every hidden moment. The person may still appear alive to their family, but in the unseen realm, the angel of death is already reaching, already preparing, already witnessing the reality of who they became. And as the soul trembles on the edge of departure, it fully understands that what comes next is not darkness, not blankness, but the beginning of the most honest chapter of its existence. As the presence of the angel of death settles over the scene, something extraordinary begins to unfold, something the living cannot sense, no matter how carefully they watch. The world around the dying person starts to blur, not as if their eyesight is weakening, but as if reality itself is stepping aside to reveal what has always existed behind it. Islamic teachings explain that this is the moment when the veil between the seen and the unseen fully lifts, opening a view into a realm that had been hidden since the first day of life. The person's gaze shifts, their eyes moving as though tracking figures no one else can see, and loved ones whisper that they must be hallucinating, unaware that the dying person is experiencing the most truthful vision of their existence. They see angels, not symbols, not metaphors, but real beings of light and command, standing with expressions that reflect the life the person lived. For the righteous, the angels of mercy appear with faces shining like dawn after a long night, filling the soul with a peace deeper than anything felt in the world. Their presence removes fear the way the sun removes shadows, calming the heart and assuring it that what lies ahead is far better than what is being left behind. For the rebellious or unrepentant, the angels of punishment appear with a sternness so overwhelming that the soul feels exposed, as though every sin stands beside it, visible and undeniable. These angels do not need to speak. Their very presence reveals the truth of a lifetime. The dying person watches scenes unfolding around them, realities layered over the familiar room, realities that the living mistake for confusion when they are actually glimpses into a world that has been waiting silently for this exact moment. The soul suddenly understands the scale of existence, realizing that earthly life was only a brief introduction to a far greater journey. When the angel of death reaches for the soul, the process is unlike anything the living imagine. Islamic teachings describe the soul's extraction as a reflection of the heart it carried. For the believer who struggled, repented, and sincerely tried to live with faith, the soul leaves the body as gently as water flowing from a vessel. It slides free with relief, as though shedding a heavy garment it has outgrown. The peaceful soul recognizes the pull, accepting it like a traveler finally boarding the vessel they've been preparing for their entire life. A fragrance accompanies it, sweet, comforting, unlike anything earthly, carried by angels who treat it with honor. They wrap it in silken shrouds from paradise, and the soul feels weightless, as if all the burdens of the world have dissolved in an instant. But for the soul that resisted truth, that lived in arrogance, cruelty, or denial, the extraction is described as being torn from the body like a thorn dragged through soaked wool. Every fiber resists. Every attachment clings desperately, as if the soul itself fears the consequences awaiting it. Angels of punishment seize it, wrapping it not in fragrance but in foulness, a stench that reflects the corruption it nurtured throughout life. The soul experiences a terror impossible to describe, realizing that the excuses that it once hid behind are gone forever. Whether gentle or painful, the extraction leaves the body instantly empty, no warmth, no awareness, no presence. And in that moment, the soul's vision expands even more. It sees its own body lying still, and it understands with perfect clarity what it never truly believed during life, that the body was only a temporary companion, a tool, a vessel. The soul sees the angels surrounding it, sees the unseen world stretching before it like a vast horizon, sees the beginning of a journey it cannot stop, cannot pause, cannot reverse. It sees the truth of its deeds as if they were alive, unfolding beside it, its charity glowing, its prayers rising like gentle light, its sins darkening the path ahead. The shock of this revelation is immense. The soul realizes that every moment on earth mattered, every intention carved a mark on its being, every act shaped the journey now beginning. The unseen is no longer unseen. It is the only reality. And as the angels carry the soul away from the body, the world that once felt infinite shrinks behind it like a distant echo, disappearing completely as the next chapter of existence unfolds. After the soul is removed from the body, a shift occurs so profound that no earthly language can fully capture it. The angel of death completes his task, but the soul is not left in an empty void. Instead, it is immediately surrounded by angels entrusted with its next steps, and their demeanor reflects the true nature of the soul they now carry. For the soul that lived with sincerity, even with struggle and imperfection, the angels approach with gentleness so deep it feels like a warm embrace without form. Their hands do not feel like touch, as we know it. Instead, they feel like recognition, like the soul has finally arrived among beings who understand it better than it ever understood itself. They wrap the soul in a cloth from paradise, a fabric unlike anything in the universe, soft in a way even the soul can feel, and from it rises a fragrance sweeter than musk, pure and comforting, a scent that announces the soul's goodness to every angel who encounters it. These angels handle the soul with honor, calling it by the most beloved names it had in the world, names known only to God, names that reflect its faith and purity. Each word they speak strengthens the soul, removing the final traces of fear, making the next journey feel like a homecoming. But for the soul that rejected truth, harmed others, and carried arrogance or neglect like armor, the scene is starkly different. The angels of punishment do not approach with violence, but with a firmness that leaves no comfort, no warmth, no softness. They carry a cloth from the fire, coarse, heavy, foul, and the moment the soul is placed within it, a stench rises that reflects the inner corruption the person nurtured throughout life. The soul trembles, as these angels call it, by the ugliest names it earned, names of hypocrisy, dishonesty, cruelty, names that expose realities it tried to hide from the world. The angels do not shame it needlessly. They simply present the truth exactly as it is, stripped of excuses and masks. In this moment, the soul finally understands the full weight of sincerity and the unbearable heaviness of insincerity. Every intention it carried has become a fragrance or a stench. Every act of kindness or cruelty now stands beside it, impossible to escape. Then the journey upward begins, a journey so monumental it makes the entire span of earthly life feel like a brief breath. The angels carrying the soul rise through layers of heaven, each one more magnificent than the last. As they approach the first gate, the angels guarding it ask the same question every single time: who is this soul? For the righteous, the answer comes with pride and honor. This is the soul of so-and-so, child of so-and-so, using the most beautiful names it was known by in the sight of God. The gates open with joy, and the angels of that realm welcome the soul, filling the air with supplications of peace. The soul feels lighter with each ascent, its fear dissolving, its hope rising like a bright dawn. As it passes through each heaven, thousands of angels greet it, amazed by its light and fragrance, expressing joy at its arrival. Every layer brings more beauty, more honor, more acceptance, until the soul begins to realize that the mercy of God is far greater than it ever imagined during its earthly life. The journey feels like traveling through limitless skies, each realm glowing with a purity the soul never believed it could witness. And in every layer, its record of deeds, its prayers, its charity, its patience, rises like a banner, carried proudly by the angels accompanying it. But for the wicked soul, the journey takes a darker path. The angels carrying it rise toward the first heaven, but the scent that trails behind them causes the gates to recoil. When the guardians ask, "Who is this soul?" the answer is spoken without honor, using the names associated with its corruption. The gates refuse to open, for nothing impure enters the heavens. Instead of ascent, the soul is cast downward, falling through the realms like a stone dropped into a bottomless abyss. Its descent is not merely physical, it feels the crushing realization of every wasted moment, every ignored reminder, every sin it normalized until it became part of its identity. The angels do not comfort it. They do not speak gently. They simply fulfill the command written for such souls, returning it to the place where the next stage awaits, a stage that will reveal even more about the truth it tried to avoid. Whether honored or rejected, ascending or cast down, the journey through the heavens reveals the deepest reality of the soul, its true essence, its authentic self, the version of it that no human eye ever saw during life. And as the journey concludes, every soul, good or evil, comes to understand with perfect clarity that what lies ahead is not chance, not mystery, but the precise unfolding of a destiny earned through every choice it made in the world it has now left behind. When the soul is finally returned to the body's resting place, something happens that the living cannot sense, even if they were pressed against the soil trying to listen. The grave, which looks cold and silent from the outside, transforms into an entirely different world for the soul. It stretches, reshapes, and responds to the truth of the person who now occupies it. For a soul that lived with sincerity, humility, and repentance, even with flaws and mistakes, the grave opens like a welcoming space, expanding as far as the eye can see, filled with light that calms the heart. The soul feels reassurance wash through it, as though the earth itself is embracing it with gentleness after a long and exhausting journey. The air carries a fragrance that reminds the soul of the mercy it hoped for in life, and a window opens toward paradise, allowing breezes of comfort to flow in. These breezes carry messages of peace, promising that what lies ahead will be far better, far sweeter, far more comforting than anything the soul tasted in the world it left behind. But for a soul heavy with arrogance, cruelty, or disregard for God, the grave becomes a place of unimaginable constriction. The earth closes in, tightening until it feels like the ribs press against one another. Darkness surrounds it, not the darkness of night, but the darkness of deeds that were ignored or justified again and again. The air becomes heavy, suffocating, filled with the echoes of choices the person refused to correct. And instead of a window to paradise, a window to punishment is opened, letting in heat, despair, and the awareness that the soul is standing at the beginning of a path it desperately wishes it could escape. In this new reality, two angels approach Munkar and Nakir, beings created for a single purpose: to question the soul with absolute justice. Their presence is immense, commanding, and their voices carry the authority of the unseen world. They ask the questions every Muslim knows, yet often forgets to truly prepare for. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? The righteous soul answers with confidence that feels like instinct. The truth flows from it effortlessly, not because it memorized words, but because it lived by them. Its heart responds, not just its tongue, and the angels affirm its truth. Peace surrounds it, and a voice from the heavens declares that the soul has spoken correctly. The grave expands further, light intensifies, and a figure representing the person's good deeds appears beautiful, comforting, telling the soul, "I am your righteous actions, and I am here to accompany you until the day of resurrection." But the wicked soul stammers, struggles, denies, or cannot speak at all. It remembers the answers intellectually, but the heart refuses to confirm them, because the heart is now incapable of lying. The angels deliver the verdict without cruelty, simply fulfilling truth. The grave tightens, darkness thickens, and a figure representing the person's sinful actions appears ugly, foul, terrifying, telling the soul, "I am your deeds, and I will never leave you." From this moment until resurrection, the soul waits either in ease unimaginable to the living, or in regret that burns deeper than flame. And then comes the greatest truth of all, what the angel of death truly sees when he comes for a soul. He does not see wealth or status or reputation. He does not see the filtered version of a person that the world admires or criticizes. He sees the soul stripped of illusions, the pure essence of who the person became through choices, habits, intentions, and secret moments. He sees generosity hidden from others, the quiet good deeds no one witnessed, the whispered repentances made in solitude. He also sees the harm done behind closed doors, the pride that poisoned the heart, the opportunities to change that were pushed aside again and again. To him, nothing is exaggerated, nothing is minimized. He sees truth in its exact form, beautiful or terrifying. And he sees the road ahead, a path lined with mercy for those who sought it, and a path lined with consequences for those who abandoned it. For the righteous soul, he sees a destiny glowing with peace, where angels guide the soul toward a final home it spent its entire life praying for, hoping for, working for. He sees the tranquility that will soon settle upon it, a tranquility deeper than any comfort on earth. For the corrupt soul, he sees a destiny shaped entirely by its own decisions. He sees the warnings it ignored, the kindness it withheld, the arrogance it fed until it became part of its identity. He sees the fear rising within it as the unseen world reveals the consequences it spent a lifetime pretending would never come. And when he reaches for the soul, whether gently like a breeze or forcefully like a storm, he witnesses the final truth. The soul standing face to face with everything it ever did, everything it ever became, everything it now must answer for. In that moment, the angel of death does not bring mystery. He brings clarity. He brings revelation. He brings the soul into the full reality of its eternal chapter, where nothing can be hidden and nothing is ever lost.